Saul Canelo Alvarez just announced his next opponent to date, and also the date, the state, and the arena. And he will be facing none other than fellow Mexican undefeated Jaime Munguia. And it's going to be taking place on Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas on the T-Mobile Arena. And I'm almost positive that me and other fans wanted Canelo to face other fighters, but this is a very solid fight. And this is the topic that we are going to be talking about next. But before we get into that, if you guys are not subscribed, please punch and knock out that subscription button. That way you'll never see it again. And ding the notification bell. That way you won't miss any of my future boxing videos. Alright guys, let's get to the round. Ding, ding. Okay champs, let's get started. Okay guys, as we all know, in the past, Canelo had a 3-fight deal with the PBC. But Canelo only ended up fighting one fighter from the 3 opponents that he signed with. And that was one of the twins, Jermall Charlo. And he did not get to fight his last 2 remaining opponents, which were later revealed that it was going to be his twin brother, Jermall Charlo, and then Errol Spence Jr. And exactly in that order. But Al Heyman told Canelo that he would not be able to pay the $35 million guaranteed for this Charlo fight, because the last Charlo fight was not a success, and they billed that as undisputed versus undisputed. And if that fight did not sell well, I am sure this fight wouldn't sell well either. If you guys remember the face-off with the Jermall Charlo fight, that was the best looking face-off I have ever seen in my life, because I have never seen so many belts in one place at one time. It looked like a Mercedes-Benz or a Cadillac commercial. But this Charlo has not been looking good lately. He was actually out of the ring for almost 2.5 or 3 years. And his last opponent was against Jose Benavides. That's the brother of David Benavides. And Charlo did look good in that fight, but he was fighting a welterweight that blew up in weight. And they were supposed to fight at a catch weight. And I believe because of the ring inactivity and not having to cut weight in a very long time, Charlo could not make the weight. And this Charlo looked like he was on meds before, and he was still taking meds. And he was actually going through some issues, I believe similar to Ryan Garcia. I believe that fight with Jose Benavides was supposed to take place at 162. But Charlo could not make the weight, and I believe he came in weighing at 165. But then he had to go reweigh himself and came in weighing at 167. And I believe that was the first time in boxing history that a fighter had to reweigh himself and actually came in weighing more than he did before. And it's also one thing to go onto a show sober, and then that show offers you beer to loosen up so they could ask you some tough questions. Basically some questions that they know you won't answer if you were sober. So they offer you the finest champagne. Then when you're tipsy, they'll ask away. And it's another thing to call a show all drunk asking for money and basically saying that they're bigger than Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis. They were so drunk that you cannot understand them. They were slurring their words so bad. But I believe that is the reason that Al Heyman did not want to give Canelo the $35 million guarantee to fight that Charlo. The fight just did not look good. So Canelo gave Al Heyman a week to think about a new opponent. If not, Canelo was going to take his services to another platform. So Al Heyman and Canelo could not agree to any fighter, and Canelo ended up going with Eddie Hearn on the Zone. But these negotiations did not last very long, and I believe the rumors were that Canelo was gonna end up fighting Munguia and Berlanga. But Canelo actually wanted Berlanga first. But Canelo and the Zone could not come up with an agreement. So Canelo left the negotiations with Al Heyman and the Zone just to go back to the PBC and Al Heyman. So Canelo started renegotiating with Al Heyman and the PBC, and I believe they came up with a brand new deal. Instead of Canelo fighting Jermall Charlo next, he is going to fight Jaime Munguia next. So they replaced Errol Spence with Jaime Munguia. Then after that, then he fights Charlo on Mexican Independence Day weekend. And I really love that move because both of these fights are solid. Because this Charlo is a really great fighter and he is undefeated. And this gives Charlo a lot of time to prepare for Canelo. Because if he would have fought Canelo on Cinco de Mayo weekend, that does not give him a lot of time. And last time we seen Charlo, he was not even training. He was actually partying on Valentine's Day in Turf and Caicos. In that video, he actually stated that nothing was confirmed, so he was just partying. But he gets a pass from me on this time because it was Valentine's Day. And you gotta do something special for your wife or girl. So this gives Charlo a lot of time to get prepared and get acclimated at 168. I would really say just get prepared because he came in weighing at 167, so I'm pretty sure he will be able to make the weight comfortably. That's only 1 pound away from fighting at 168, which is Canelo's weight class. Now that Charlo knows that he is going to face Canelo on Mexican Independence Day weekend, I will start training now if I was him, because he looked really good against Benavidez, but that was a blown up welterweight. I'm pretty sure he would not have looked that good against anybody else. He probably would have gotten stopped by Canelo Alvarez or even David Benavidez. Probably even Tim Tszyu would have stopped Charlo going up to 167. But a well-trained and disciplined Charlo is a force to be reckoned with. And Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia is a great fight. It's Mexico versus Mexico. I believe this fight will have pandemonium. And not just that, they both fought the same fighter in John Ryder. And Canelo Alvarez could not stop John Ryder in the very small ring in Mexico. And Jaime Munguia did what Canelo couldn't and knocked out John Ryder. And I always liked Jaime Munguia as a fighter, but I always thought that he lacked something. But I'm pretty sure whatever that was, his new trainer, Freddie Roach, helped him out with that, as he stopped John Ryder when Freddie Roach was at his corner. A lot of people wanted him to fight Berlanga, but I still think Berlanga needs some way to go. But I am sure on paper, both of these fights are going to do very well, as Berlanga is still undefeated and on paper he is a knockout artist. I believe Berlanga has 17 first round knockouts, and just by stating this, they will be able to sell the fight well. As you know, some promoters are good at marketing and they could sell fire to hell. And Jaime Munguia is undefeated as well, and he has a very good record. Now, a Jaime Munguia and Berlanga fight, I have Jaime Munguia stopping Berlanga. I believe Berlanga's downfall was having 17 first round knockouts, as he did not get experience because they were all 17 rounds only. And they were not even complete rounds, as none of those rounds lasted even 3 minutes. But I cannot wait for Canelo versus Jaime Munguia. I know it's gonna be an all classic Mexican war. This fight will produce nothing but melee. I know everybody wants David Benavidez next, but I am sure Canelo will eventually fight David Benavidez. Just like the whole boxing world at one point wanted Canelo to fight Triple G, and everybody was saying that Canelo will never fight Triple G, and if he fought Triple G, they will stop asking anything from Canelo. And not only did he fight Triple G, he fought the guy 3 times. And now it's like Tupac said, it's the same old song with David Benavidez. If they fought now, I have Canelo actually beating David Benavidez, but not if they fight later, as David Benavidez is still progressing and he is always taking on the toughest opponents, therefore making him better. And Canelo is not getting any younger. So the longer Canelo waits, the tougher the fight will be for Canelo. And if he waits for too long, he might even get embarrassed or even stopped by the Mexican Monster. But as right now, I have Canelo beating the Mexican Monster by unanimous decision. But who do you guys have winning? Mexico versus Mexico, Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia. And do you guys think Canelo Alvarez will fight David Benavidez? Because Canelo said he has 5 more years of fighting, and that's at least 10 fights. I'm pretty sure one of them will beat David Benavidez. Comment below and I'll write to everyone back. If you guys like the show, subscribe, like the video, share the video, and that's it for me, champs. I gotta roll.
I shook up the world! I shook up the world! I shook up the world!